Today I want to talk about why your embroidery looks chunky and how to fix it. This little flower motif is done really nice. There's nothing chunky about it. It's a small, as you can tell from my fingernail, it's a small little image here. And I use 2 strands. Now, if you're working on something small, you don't want to use 6 strands. And you'll see why here. I will do the exact same flower over here using 6 strands. So as you can see already, my thread is starting to look uneven. Instead of nice and smooth, it's starting to get bulky. And I'm trying to be as precise as possible as to how I did this one. So you can see a very big difference. Okay, so as you can see, it's not as smooth. Well, you know what? For all kicks and giggles, let's do another petal next to it. So now it's starting to pucker and it's starting to bulk, okay? It's not laying flat. So they look more like fat leaves than anything else. And then the center of the flower is also becoming a lot bulkier. Now, some people may like this look, but when you're doing a little small image here, it's going to bulk up the fabric. See that? It's going to make your fabric pucker. And the reason why your fabric puckers is because of the tension of pulling this thicker string, all these flosses through your fabric. You're stretching your fabric more. Even if you're using a hoop, I'm not using a hoop because this is a very small piece. But you're stretching and pulling a lot more. And it also could be that your tension is too tight. That's another reason your embroidery could look messy or bulky because your tension's too tight. But to be fair, I'm doing the same tension here as I did here because I really wanted you to see the difference. Okay, so see how that's starting to pucker? If you did enough of these, it'd be all chunky and bulky compared to that. See, it just doesn't lay as smooth. Let's do one more so we can see the full flower. So I was going to do one petal, but you don't see the rest of the problems unless I do the full flower. So let's just finish this flower here. And we won't put a center in our flower. For one, I can't fit anything more into this same hole here. So as you can probably hear, not here, but here when I go up through the center, you can probably hear how it's really starting to hear that? It's starting to, the tension's getting tighter and it's getting more and more difficult, which is going to make your fabric pucker even more. I gotta fit one more to make it even. It's also harder on your hands, trust me. Even if you have a more open weave, you're still going to get that. Okay, see how it even puckered more? That's the same tension as this one. So you're going to have, like I said, you may want that. If you're doing a sweater or something or a heavy material, this is okay. But if you're doing a light material, this is just canvas, cotton canvas, you want to keep your threads as few as possible, okay? So, as we were talking earlier, let's do, and I should demonstrate this on two, but it's not going to matter because I'm just going to do one line here, or two lines. So let's say we're starting something else, okay? And it's all nice and flat and everything's wonderful, and we're going to do a bunch of those, okay? But let's do something else here. Let's say I'm in a hurry. I'm trying to do another one, and my tension's too tight. What did we just do? We just puckered the fabric. We created a little bridge here, and it just looks awful and messy. Okay, so let's loosen this up to keep it nice. Now, say we're doing a little crosshatch here, and we put one over, and that's fine. And we do another one, and we pull it too tight. What's going to happen? That's going to happen, and your embroidery is just not going to look good. It's not going to be nice and neat. It's not going to be smooth, and it's just going to be all over the place. And then if you don't catch it and you keep sewing to where you can't loosen it, then you've got a big mess on your hands. This doesn't look like a hashtag anymore, but I'm just trying to show you. Okay, then you got a big mess on your hands. And then you're sitting here trying to loosen it and trying to do this, and this is all bent in. Okay, so you get the idea. You keep your threads as few as possible if you're doing a small image, and keep your tension exactly the same. But notice on your first tension, if it's too tight and your material starts puckering, you know that your tension's too tight. So watch that. And then as you sew more and more, you'll start getting the hang of it, and you'll start feeling it and knowing the difference. So we have our stitches packed too close together, too tight together, and too much thread. All of that is making the puckering and just the inconsistency. Here, we are pulling our threads too tight and not keeping our tension the same. So let's put a big knot on the back of the fabric, and that will also cause, we'll just start here and just do another knot. This will also cause bulkiness in your fabric. If you put knots in first, you're going to have a big bulk in the before you even start. So say you start with a knot on the back, put a knot in the back of your thread. I'm just doing this so I don't have to cut it and everything. But say you have a knot in the back of your thread and you're coming up for the first time, and of course you wouldn't have the stitch here. I just had that just to make a knot. But you come up for the first time and you're trying to do oh, we'll do another flower. That knot there is going to cause bulkiness right there. So see, the knot is here. So eventually, as I start going through and using that same area to come through, it's really going to cause a lot of bulk, okay? And pretty soon I won't be able to get my needle through there. So be careful with your knots. You can start it off by, I can show you real quick. You can start without having a knot. You can start your pattern this way. Okay, normally we would put a knot here, or we're tempted to put a knot here. But what about this way? We're coming in from the front, hold it down, and tack it just a teeny tiny bit. Okay, so we're going to do a little tack, and when I say a tack, making a little tiny cross because we're going to sew over it anyway. See, that's not going anywhere. Okay, and that you don't have to worry about your tension because it's so tiny. You did it so quick and it's not gonna even matter. So then we can cut our tail here. Get that through here. And then there you have it. No knot. And it'll lay smooth. Okay, and see, it's not going anywhere. You can see the pulling and the tension. And then you can continue to sew over it. You can make whatever you need to make. We'll make a little lazy daisy so we don't get a bulky stitch again. So that's one way to prevent your bulk. You don't want knots on the back and too many threads for too small of a motif. Get on my little threads here. I should have cut that a little bit shorter, but you get the idea. One last reason why your embroidery is starting to look chunky. Are you pulling your thread all the way through? Okay, we talked about tension earlier, but what if you're in a hurry and you don't pull your thread all the way through? You're in a hurry and you're talking to somebody and you don't pull it all the way through. I'm going to do the same kind of petal that I've been showing you earlier, and you will see the difference. So if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you have this big mess on your hand. Look what happened. See what happened? And that's supposed to be a petal and you can't even tell it. Even that looks better. Okay, so make sure you pull your thread all the way through your fabric. Don't pull it too tight. Just keep your tension nice and even. Even if you're using all 6 strands, keep your tension nice and even. And it's better as a beginner to work on a hoop. But again, this swatch is way too small and I can't do that. Okay, so you can tell right away my tension is perfect. Now it's not, and now it's not. Okay, you can do cross stitch 2. And if you're working on cross stitch, oh, let's get that perfect there. And then you're coming here and crossing over and your tension's off. That's going to look messy. See how bad that is if you don't keep your tension correct? Or if you're too loose with it? See how bad that looks? So keep your tension nice and even. And thanks for watching, and I will be back for another tutorial. Please subscribe and put on the notification button, and you will know all about when I do more tips and tricks like this. I have lots of them. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.